The young and the restless spoilers shock, got it. Here's a long, detailed, and immersive article based on the plot points you provided about Aristotle Dumas's deadly party and its shocking implications. I'll keep it logical, faithful to the content, and creatively expanded, with rich continuous prose and minimal breaks. The shadow of Aristotle Dumas loomed large over Genoa City as the date of his infamous party approached, sending waves of unease and anticipation rippling through the intertwined lives of those invited. His chilling warning echoed ominously: this gathering would not be a mere celebration but a party of blood, a night marked by twisted games and unspeakable cruelty where at least one guest would meet their demise. The very thought of such a sinister event, conceived by a man shrouded in mystery and menace, set the town on edge, blending curiosity with dread in a volatile cocktail. Aristotle's designs were diabolical. He had orchestrated a scenario so cruel that it defied the usual boundaries of soap opera intrigue. All attendees would be confined within a locked compound, a claustrophobic prison designed to strip away any illusion of safety or escape. Within these walls, each person would be forced into a macabre dilemma, to designate, through a ruthless and twisted game of survival, who among them deserved to die. This was no longer a mere social function, it was a deadly contest, a psychological torture chamber in which loyalties would fracture and darkest instincts surface. The revelations surrounding Aristotle's true identity only added layers of complexity and suspense to an already harrowing scenario. Whispers and rumors circulated feverishly. Was Aristotle Dumas, the enigmatic mastermind, in fact Cain Ashby in disguise? This theory, floated in hushed tones in online fan forums, gripped viewers' imaginations. Cain Ashby, once a beloved character thought lost to tragedy, possibly living under a new identity with sinister intentions, injected a nerve-wracking uncertainty into the narrative. Fans debated fervently, torn between hope, disbelief, and growing apprehension. Yet, no definitive answer emerged, and the ambiguity only deepened the intrigue surrounding Aristotle's motives and the impending doom. Among the swirling storm of speculation, one devastating news struck hardest: Kyle Abbott was reportedly the designated victim, the chosen casualty of this nightmarish ordeal. This revelation ignited a fierce backlash from the show's dedicated audience, who viewed Kyle not just as a key player but as a vital thread in the tapestry of Genoa City's ongoing drama. His potential death threatened to strip the storyline of one of its most complex, charismatic, and beloved characters, leaving fans grappling with a mix of sorrow, disbelief, and frustration. The idea that such a pivotal figure might be written off in such a brutal fashion was a bitter pill to swallow. As the fateful evening drew near, the tension became palpable. Every guest wrestled with the chilling prospect of their own mortality and the moral nightmare of deciding another's fate. Friendships that had weathered storms now seemed fragile, alliances tenuous at best. Suspicion gnawed at every interaction, smiles masked calculating minds, and every glance was charged with unspoken threats. The air grew thick with paranoia, fear, and desperation. Aristotle's party, as terrifying as it was unpredictable, represented a twisted microcosm of human nature under pressure. It was a stage for exposing raw emotions, unmasking hidden grudges, and forcing characters to confront their innermost demons. Who would sacrifice their own conscience to survive? Who would betray those closest to them? And ultimately, who would pay the ultimate price? For the fans, the unfolding drama was a masterclass in suspense and psychological torment. The stakes had never been higher, the threats never more personal. This was not just a game or a plot device, it was a brutal exploration of power, control, and the darkness lurking beneath polished facades. The looming question of Aristotle's identity, whether a man driven by revenge, madness, or something far more calculated, added an irresistible layer of mystery that kept everyone on the edge of their seats. The repercussions of this night would ripple far beyond the confines of the party. Lives would be shattered, relationships irreparably damaged, and the balance of power in Genoa City irrevocably altered. The game was deadly serious, and no one could predict how the pieces would fall or who would emerge, if anyone, unscathed. As the countdown to the party continued, fans braced themselves for a shocking, unforgettable chapter in the saga of the young and the restless. One where survival hinged not only on cunning and alliances but on the cold, terrifying calculus of who deserves to live and who must die. If you want me to extend or deepen any particular aspect, such as character reactions, the backstory of Aristotle/Cain, or the fallout from Kyle's possible death, just say the word. The news that Kyle Abbott might become the chosen victim at Aristotle Dumas's sinister party reverberated through the fandom of the young and the restless like a shockwave. For many, it was unimaginable. Kyle, the vibrant and charismatic heir of the Abbott legacy, potentially struck down in the prime of his life? It was more than shocking, it was heartbreaking, deeply unsettling, and disturbing to fans who saw in Kyle not merely a beloved character but the very essence of the show's future. Yet, the initial wave of panic gradually transformed into cautious relief when further insights clarified that Kyle's demise was not guaranteed. Only 70% accurate at best, according to behind-the-scenes sources. Though the possibility lingered ominously, it seemed that Kyle's fate might not yet be sealed. Still, uncertainty is often worse than knowing, and this ambiguous revelation left viewers both hopeful and profoundly anxious. Indeed, for devoted viewers, Kyle's potential exit carried unbearable weight. His vibrant persona, his nuanced portrayal of love, ambition, and vulnerability made him indispensable. Kyle embodied youth, aspiration, and the complicated balance between duty and desire. To imagine his life abruptly ending in violence was to envision the loss of something integral to the emotional fabric of Genoa City. Thus, even the suggestion that Aristotle's game might claim him was enough to plunge loyal fans into turmoil, igniting passionate debates and campaigns demanding Kyle's safety. Fans could not bear to witness his flame extinguished prematurely, especially in a scenario as brutal as Aristotle's sickening spectacle. Yet, within this twisted narrative, there remained a sliver of narrative hope, a dramatic scenario suggested by whispers within the production team. Kyle might be shot, yes, injured grievously perhaps, but death would not necessarily claim him. The bullet that struck him would become a pivotal dramatic device rather than a fatal blow, propelling Kyle and the broader storyline into even richer emotional territory. In other words, Aristotle's grim spectacle was not intended to be the end but rather a dramatic crescendo, plunging Kyle into peril to ignite tension, elevate stakes, and offer fresh, compelling storylines centered around his struggle for survival, recovery, and eventual redemption. Indeed, Aristotle's notorious party was carefully designed as a macabre stage on which to test the moral fabric of Genoa City's residents. As the night finally arrived, the atmosphere within Aristotle's isolated mansion was charged with dread, uncertainty, and hidden agendas. Among the glittering attendees were Billy Abbott, Nick Newman, Audra Charles, Victoria Newman, Adam Newman, Lily Winters, and an assortment of Genoa City's influential citizens, each harboring their own anxieties and motivations. Yet none were prepared for the genuine horrors Aristotle had meticulously planned. The evening had begun deceptively serene, a glittering affair bathed in luxury and decadence. Champagne flowed freely, conversations bubbled superficially, and Aristotle himself maintained a veneer of refined charm, his calculating eyes scanning the room, cataloging weaknesses, secrets, and fears. But this facade of elegance shattered abruptly when Aristotle, with chilling calm, revealed his true intentions. Sealing every exit, he announced that his guests would not simply attend. They would participate in a cruel and deadly psychological experiment. One life would end tonight, and it would be the guests themselves who chose the unfortunate victim. Trapped and terrified, friendships instantly became liabilities, alliances shifted, and suspicions saturated the air. Aristotle watched their mounting panic with detached amusement, a puppeteer reveling in the distress he orchestrated. Then came the shocking, horrifying moment that fans dreaded. Kyle Abbott, his face pale yet defiant, stood suddenly isolated, targeted not merely by Aristotle's scheme but by fate itself. The chilling clarity of Aristotle's intent became starkly apparent when a single shot rang out, echoing through the grand hall and silencing all whispers instantly. Kyle crumpled in slow motion, clutching desperately at the spreading crimson stain blossoming on his chest. Time seemed to stretch endlessly as Kyle's anguished cry reverberated around the cavernous space, echoing painfully in the ears of the stunned guests. His pleading eyes searched the faces of his supposed friends, begging for intervention, mercy, and assistance. Yet the assembled guests, Billy, Nick, Audra, Victoria, Adam, Lily, all stood paralyzed, trapped in their own terror, self-preservation overriding compassion. Their frozen postures spoke louder than words, a gut-wrenching betrayal captured in Kyle's shocked, grief-stricken expression. Fans watching at home felt every second of Kyle's agony viscerally, hearts aching at the unbearable sight of his vulnerability exposed, betrayed, abandoned by those he had considered allies or family. His desperate cries for help pierced through any veneer of civility, permanently etching an unforgettable image into their collective consciousness. Still, even in this darkest moment, it was evident the story had further depths to plunge. Kyle lay wounded gravely but crucially still breathing, his heart stubbornly fighting against the encroaching darkness. Aristotle's twisted scenario had achieved its goal, not death, but profound trauma, loss of innocence, and shattered trust. Kyle's shooting represented a pivot, not an ending, his survival, a harrowing, suspenseful journey to redemption and renewal. The long road to recovery would allow Kyle's character to evolve dramatically, providing richer, emotionally charged material. His near death would shift alliances, spark revenge plots, and redefine relationships. Kyle's ordeal was thus not merely tragic, it was transformational. Indeed, as medics finally arrived, summoned perhaps by Aristotle himself who had made his cruel point, Kyle's barely conscious gaze flickered across the stunned and shamefaced crowd. This betrayal would shape the very core of his future choices. Billy's guilt-ridden stare, Victoria's ashamed avoidance, Adam's tense calculation, Audra's conflicted expression, all would have lasting repercussions. Each of them had revealed their true nature under pressure, setting the stage for gripping future storylines filled with tension, revenge, and redemption. The narrative gamble of Aristotle's party thus achieved a profound dual purpose. It created unforgettable drama and controversy, and yet it preserved the possibility of renewal, hope, and narrative redemption through Kyle's survival. The tragedy would shape not only Kyle's own future but the broader emotional tapestry of Genoa City, forever coloring interactions, reshaping alliances, and forcing characters into deeper introspection. Viewers would now engage with Kyle's ongoing struggle, cheering his healing journey and eagerly anticipating his dramatic return to prominence. Ultimately, Aristotle Dumas's twisted game did not extinguish Kyle Abbott, rather, it thrust him into the heart of a profound, deeply emotional arc, ensuring that his story, and thus the legacy of the young and the restless itself, would remain compelling, dramatic, and unforgettable. Though fans endured wrenching fear and heartache, their passionate response underscored Kyle's narrative importance and ensured that this dramatic turn of events would resonate powerfully, propelling the beloved series into a new era of heightened drama, complexity, and emotional depth. In the shadowy, high-stakes world of Genoa City, every move made by the key players is fraught with tension, secrets, and power struggles. Audra Charles, caught at the epicenter of this intricate web, found herself walking a perilous tightrope, forced to obey directives that weighed heavily on her conscience. Though compelled to carry out the enigmatic plans laid out before her, Audra was painfully aware that the consequences would ripple far beyond her own fate. Unknown to many, Holden Novak, ever vigilant and resourceful, had clandestinely eavesdropped on her private meeting with Victor Newman. This discovery thrust Audra into an uncomfortable spotlight, as she anticipated the inevitable confrontation. Holden's questions would be sharp, probing, and unrelenting, challenging her loyalty and resolve. Yet, Audra steeled herself, knowing that her path was set, there was no turning back. Central to Audra's mission was Kyle Abbott, a young man whose charm and determination masked the turbulent forces at play in his life. Empowered by Audra's influence, Kyle gained renewed conviction and clarity. With an unshakable purpose, he sought to persuade Claire Newman, a woman of strength and principle, about the vital importance of his attendance at the fateful party orchestrated by Aristotle Dumas. Kyle's reasoning was compelling. His presence was not merely a social obligation but a strategic necessity. The stakes were high, and his argument resonated deeply with Claire, who found herself torn between personal concerns and the greater good. Claire's own life was shadowed by worry, as her partner, Cole Howard, grappled with serious health issues. This situation demanded her attention and made her reluctant to leave his side. Nevertheless, recognizing the gravity of the circumstances surrounding the party and Kyle's crucial role, Claire reluctantly consented to his participation, albeit without her accompanying him. This bittersweet decision underscored the sacrifices made by those caught in the crossfire of Genoa City's relentless power games. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman wrestled with her own conflicts. Her maternal instincts and protective nature kept her anchored firmly in Genoa City, where Mariah Copeland was facing challenges that required Sharon's unwavering support. Resolving not to attend Aristotle's ominous gathering, Sharon prioritized family over politics and intrigue. Yet, this decision brought its own set of emotional complications, especially when Phyllis Summers revealed her intention to attend the party alongside Nick Newman. The news stung Sharon deeply, stirring feelings of resentment and uncertainty. The presence of Phyllis, an old rival and a catalyst for past betrayals? At the event with Nick injected a volatile element that threatened to upend the fragile balance Sharon sought to maintain. At the center of these unfolding dramas stood Victor Newman, the patriarch whose ambitions and machinations continued to shape the destiny of many. With his characteristic blend of cunning and ruthlessness, Victor intensified the pressure on his son, Adam Newman. The stakes escalated beyond the confines of the party itself, as Victor maneuvered to ensure Adam's allegiance and effectiveness. In a move that would reverberate through the corporate corridors and social circles of Genoa City, Victor compelled Adam to leverage the formidable power of Newman Media against Billy Abbott. This strategic deployment of media influence was designed to destabilize Billy's position, furthering Victor's own agenda and consolidating the Newman family's dominance. As the narrative unfolded, this media offensive promised to ignite fierce battles in the public arena, setting the stage for confrontations laden with personal vendettas and shifting alliances. Thus, as the players aligned for Aristotle Dumas's deadly spectacle, the intricate interplay of personal loyalties, strategic imperatives, and simmering rivalries reached a fever pitch. Audra's obedience, Kyle's determination, Claire's sacrifice, Sharon's guarded stance, Phyllis's provocative move, and Victor's relentless scheming formed a complex mosaic of ambition and survival. The convergence of these forces promised a dramatic crescendo that would test the limits of trust, courage, and resilience in the heart of Genoa City.